Hi, everybody. Welcome to Rivertown Poets. I'm Shauna Swedish, one of your hosts for our every other month live readings here at the Aqus Cafe, along with Monica Volker. As most of you know, Sandy Anfong, who's the founder of this reading series, relocated to Las Vegas last spring, but she continues to host Zoom readings from her home in Las Vegas, which she's dubbed Rivertown Poets Desert Edition. Rivertown Poets has been meeting on the first Monday of each month since 2013 to share poetry and community. We'd like to thank the Aqus Cafe, John Crowley, and Leslie McCullough for hosting us these past many years. And also a hearty thanks to the chefs and wait staff who take such good care of us. And just FYI, food service is available till 7 p.m. tonight. We are grateful to be living on Pomo, Wapo, and Miwok land and thank these peoples for hosting us here. In this space, we practice tolerance and respect for voices that may reflect different points of view from our own. Lastly, we'd like to give a great big thank you to our fantastic featured poets tonight, Sonoma County Poet Laureate Dave Setter, and our two Youth Poet Laureates, Sabine Wolpert and Lisa Zheng, as well as all of you who braved the weather to get out here tonight. So thank you so much. After the featured readers this evening, we'll be taking a short break, and then we'll return for open mic. If you haven't signed up and you'd like to read a poem for open mic, there's a sign-up sheet up here. And also we have a list for our email if you'd like to stay up with what Rivertown Poets are doing. Let's see. So let's get right to our features. And our first reader tonight is going to be Dave Setter. Dave is the 2024 through 2026 Sonoma County Poet Laureate and author of the full-length poetry collection Don't Sing to Me of Electric Fences, which he so kindly brought some, so let's make sure we support our poets by buying their books. And he also has a chapbook out. It's called Night Duty. He has a chapbook also called Somewhere West of the Mississippi, which will be coming out soon from Mammoth Publications. Dave is educated as a civil engineer and writes about social and environmental issues, including the intersection of the built and natural worlds. He's a student of Lithuanian and has translated and published poems by contemporary Lithuanian poets. Wow. And his laureate project is called Our Sonoma County, which encourages poets to write about Sonoma County history through documentary poems, and he's also challenging us to try writing new subjects and forms. And you can find out more about his project at davesetter.com. So let's welcome Dave to the mic.
Great. Thank you so much, Shauna, Monica, and of course, for building community, right? This has been going on for years, this Rivertown Poets. It's fantastic, and it's been hosted at Aqus for years, and so and both organizations are about community, so we appreciate that. Yeah, so the first poem I'm going to read is what I call a questina, and because I'm going to make a pitch for the questina workshop I'm holding at Sebastopol Center for the Arts, March 2nd. Questina is a short form sestina. Sestina, there are 6 N words that repeat according to a certain pattern from stanza to stanza. But a questina is only in quatrains, and so it's a much shorter poem. To me, it's a short form sestina, or a sestina for the short attention span poet like myself. And it's kind of like word games. So anybody who wants to sign up for the workshop, all levels of interest, all levels of experience, including youth poets, show up for the workshops. Awesome. So here's an example of a questina. And the title is The Man Whose Bones Are Gone. I think this form is suited to things like, anyway, you tell me what you think. The man whose bones are gone. Plenty of salt in the desert we made, but never enough water. Instead, Sunday's thimbles of sacramental wine helped him to incrementally drift away from this earth, leaving behind jealousy, dogs and their bones. He'd watched strays worry those found femurs and circle their own tails like currents of water flowing through city parks, the bounds of their earth as they mourned their losses, whining. The man grew a thirst for ordinary wine. He grieved over the San Andreas fault's broken bones and the last resting places of sailors in offshore waters who never felt at home in their bodies on earth. He watched people shot at, hugging the dirt, suddenly in love with their bones. What of the miracle of turning water into wine, and the human body a miracle, almost all water? He's gone from his bones and his body mostly water, freed from wine-soaked earth, from all that troubling blood. So the four end words in this poem were water, wine, earth, and bones. And so if you have an obsession with certain words, this turns into sort of a word game. So I kind of encourage you to give it a try. Yeah.
Can we fix that mic first?
So I'll read a couple of poems from the book, Don't Sing to Me of Electric Fences. And given that this is February, and February does have Valentine's Day in it, I thought I'd read a couple of love, kind of sort of love poems. They're not all pure love poems. The first one is an ode to young love. It's called Golden Delicious. We found an abandoned orchard, a cave of branches, unpruned, shaggy, the way we liked our hair to fall against our parents' wishes. You carried a Swiss Army knife in your back pocket, and though there were almost too many apples, cut one in half for us to eat, down to the core, then through the cartilage to the bitter seeds. I thought of you on New Year's Eve. There was a stage play at Cinnabar Theater. 2 men and 2 women played Edith Piaf. The duality of gender, what a pair we made. Bookish boy and punk rock girl, her finger hooked through the belt loop of his jeans. How many times did we try to buy beer at the crossroads of the doctor and the priest? Let them keep their opening and closing ceremonies. Fruit still falls, secret, undeterred, in orchards where we found what was golden was delicious. So yeah, this next one, so those of you who are maybe English teachers may not like this one. It's got a lot of broken syntax in it. But it's kind of fun to read, and it's kind of sort of a love poem. So I'm going to read it. And the title is Red Clay Creek. The shopping cart looked stuck for years, axle deep, wiry. We were ankle deep, our male and female forms, nature made, force from opposite sides, leverage, handle and a nose, the handle reading ShopRite. Yellow aglow in ever-living plastic. Later, pints of beer at the tavern, but meanwhile the clay, supposedly plastic, stubborn, the cart only bent, until one shove. It tipped us under Red Clay Creek, laughing, riotous, ridiculous, trying to clean a creek of shopping carts, mayonnaise jars, etc. While we parked, someone stole one of my hubcaps. Not 4, 1. Another trophy for Red Clay Creek. See where the mind goes? When? Distracted. She did me, but those roles assigned, though she did dig me out. We wrenched that cart free and linked arms, and the cart came out. As for the hubcap, after that we never did team up or ever go back to look for. Yeah, so, those fleeting moments we experience in life. So now I believe Shauna mentioned there is another chapbook in the works somewhere west of the Mississippi. It actually is in print now. So I have some flyers up front. I don't have my copies yet, but there's some flyers if you're curious. There's actually a QR code. Those of you who are into QR codes, we actually have a QR code on the back of the pamphlet. No, we're not so old. Okay, all right. So keeping it going here. I did want to say also how thrilled I am to be reading with Sabine and Lisa. Because I think it's important, right? I think it's just important to have these gatherings where we're, just across age groups, ethnicities, everything. I think it's fantastic. We can read together, and I look forward to hearing your words. So I wanted to make sure to get that in. So this book I'm going to be reading from on future occasions, so I don't want to, steal all the thunder from that book, but I do want to read one poem. And let me show you the cover again. So this painting is called White Buffalo. It's by an indigenous artist named Michaela Jones, and she paints spirit animals. She was born on the Duck Valley Reservation on the Idaho-Nevada border. The Duck Valley Reservation is where I had a mine cleanup project to kind of help the tribes restore their water quality. Until I had bought this painting and had a conversation with her, I had no idea she was born in Duck Valley.
Wow.
And so it's kind of serendipitous that I was working in that area. And so this poem is in this collection kind of paired with her painting. So I love when those serendipitous moments happen. So the title of the poem is Tribal Fishing Report. For the fishing report, press 1. The recording says, fly fishing only for Lake Billy Shaw, good for rainbow trout. Native red band trout are absent here on the reservation, departed from the lakes up to the headwaters of Mill Creek. I drive onto the reservation not to fish, but to help the fish. I know it sounds like a punchline to a joke. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. I roll up my sleeves, wishing pressing one could solve it all. I'm here to help heal the land a century and a half after the Bannock War ended badly and imprisoned warriors, forced those off the land who tried to take back the land, who lived close to the land, who left their blood on the land. Scars take time to heal. Before men turned Mill Creek the color of rust, the land would pull native red band trout upstream on invisible lines of scent to the headwaters where trout would spawn and fry would hatch. What happened next is written across the earth. A mining corporation filled the creek with speculation, jumped the land's claim to copper with bulldozers. The exclamations of dynamite reverberated. Now Mill Creek has been unblocked, restored, but trout find it hard to navigate. Mistakes tinted the creek with iron, the scent confusing the trout nosing their way home. Copper, too, escaping from the mine, interferes with gills. Fishing report part 2, no trout yet. True, bulldozers tried to reverse time and rebuild the creek. The land is patient. The Shoshone and Paiute tribes patiently test the water, measure time in 7 generations that outlast corporations. No trout yet in the creek. Trout need shade, but the work done legally binding uprooted the willows. Restoration of shade, now that the miners have retired to rocking chairs and graves, may take generations, but hopefully not 7, when fishing report part 3. New willows will penetrate the rebuilt creek's clay sandwich. Trout will remember the sweetness. Shade will overtake the ghost of the bulldozer, and trout will find their ancestors at the headwaters. That whole project was due to the tribe's persistence, because the mining corporation just wanted to build a treatment plant at the foot of the creek and treat the water in perpetuity. And the tribes were like, no, that's ridiculous. You take this stuff out of the creek, it doesn't belong there. And the tribe need to find a way. They're not going to be able to leap over a water treatment plant. So it was an incredible project to work on. Okay, so let's see, how are we doing for time here? Doing good? A couple more maybe, yeah? So I have another manuscript I'm working on. It's kind of funny, you put one book out and you have another manuscript you're working on if you're a poet. You got to be constantly working on something, right? the title of which keeps changing. Sometimes I call it Dear Science, and sometimes I call it Scientific Method, Scientific Madness. I'm not sure which it's going to end up being. But I am going to read another mining poem, one more, about animals on the mine. This one is called Keep Out, But Remember, Deer Leap Fences. The custodian claims chain link. Barbed wire will keep out the deer here where copper once fed the boom and bust. Now onions have taken hold in the high desert where a businessman pumps the aquifer, markets the onions to feed China's hunger, his name affixed on oval stickers. Deer ignore the pungent bulbs, but slurp from irrigation ditches where excess water runs. When ditches run dry, deer leap fences past keep out signs to search for water in a moonscape of man-made hills of mine waste containing uranium, also found in the aquifer and in the onions, but they're considered safe to eat. The field biologist said no habitat here among broken earth, but deer must drink, and who can blame them for thinking water when seeing cool colored acid pools abandoned when the miners left town, pools icing over at the edges as if winter has fallen midsummer. The smarter noses of the deer assay the ponds and say, don't drink, though deer must drink often. Is there something wrong medically with a deer seeking elixir among mine water? To find out, we would need to kill one first, then examine his organs for abnormality. We need data, science says, to weigh the unhealthiness of the mine environment to deer. In this chance meeting, the deer lacks the language. We lack the ability to translate without dissecting the messenger. Okay, so we're gonna lighten up a little bit because this collection needs to be lightened up a little bit. I'm not sure if this one's going to make the cut in the manuscript, but I had fun writing it, and we'll see. You tell me what you think. So this one is called Tourists from the Future. Sci-fi movies turned me into a believer, but if time travel's possible, then where are all the tourists from the future? Dropping from the sky, Star Trek teleporting. Their bodies are supposed to shimmer and dissolve like Alka-Seltzer tablets, but not into water, into air. Where are all the tourists from the future, capturing our images and souvenir organs? Then again, maybe they prefer anonymity, reassembling molecules on a different plane, a wavelength not visible to us. Maybe they reassemble on the same wavelength as ghosts do. Maybe what we think are ghosts are really travelers from the future. Maybe George Jetson, born 2205, arrives on the same wavelength as Aunt Lenora, born 1925, now a ghost. Maybe they both like vodka martinis, and that's why our liquor cabinet is always empty. Okay, and one more, because I'm really anxious to hear our, Youth Poet Laureate and Youth Poet Ambassador. Unfortunately, I'm going to get a little serious again, so that's the way it is. We live in serious times. It's a short one, though. It's called Gang of Piñatas. I assume everyone knows what piñatas are, those papier-mâché figures that you knock with a stick and candies fall out. Okay, Gang of Piñatas. And thanks, you guys are an awesome audience. Good to see a packed house. Good to see Aqus doing good business. John's over here, our host. We're building community, John. We love it. Gang of Piñatas. Let's gang together and not let them break us open. Me, the nutcracker in soldier's hat and redundant suspenders. You, wearing a green crepe skirt and rascal donkey ears. Resolve that when midnight comes in fragile fields of falling stars, the world will recognize your worth as more than plaything, target, object. Resolve to let light in. Inside, whether you are nuance of cocoa, cane sugar, vanilla, almond, no one deserves to take without asking. Let's gang together and not let them break us open.
Good job, Dave. That was awesome. Awesome.
All right, that was great. Thank you so much, Dave. Appreciate that. And our next reader will be Sabine Wolpert. She is a high school senior and current Youth Poet Ambassador of Sonoma County. Sabine is a motivated student and social justice advocate who serves as a representative on her school board's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, yay, and leads eco and activism clubs, oh yay. In her time as Youth Poet Ambassador, Sabine hopes to connect with a broad variety of youth and encourage them to share their ideas via writing and reciting poetry. So let's welcome Sabine.
Yay.
Well, I was going to introduce myself, but I don't really have anything else to say. Okay, I have 4 poems that I'm going to read, and none of them are very lighthearted. Should I pull it?
Yeah, pull it up. There you go. How about that? Is that good?
Can you hear me? Is that good? Okay.
Good?
I'll talk into it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to start with one called The Politician. Your slender fingers trembling with anticipation, wrapping themselves around her, and this, when she sits and your broken heart bleeds through her, and again, when you lay in agony and laughter bubbles from you. To laugh is a remedy. Laugh in the face of her, crushed by your power, crushed by her powerlessness, crushed by silver bullets that fly faster than her sorrow. You laugh, your need gripping you again, to force her into your arms, dance about her with fire, surround her with it so it licks at her neck. Count the seconds that slide past you, like we cannot see you, like mirrors don't slither around you, drawing out your soul. How many seconds can she walk untouched, like on clouds, like on white sand, for a moment? How many seconds will you draw back again? You laugh, a remedy, for stretching yourself across miles, miles of your own anguish. It gathers around you, draping you in satin. It crowns you king, and now your hollow eyes drag across her, and you forget that she is not your heartbreak, you are.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one doesn't have a title, so let's get right into it. Okay. I feel you all the time, like you're knocking at my door, and fall back again because letting you in again means that you'll walk out again. And so I just look through the window. You look back at me, but I can't feel you, not like when I could let you in, without the fear, without the knowledge that you would leave again. And at night, I wonder if the hole that you left will be filled with that feeling again. It makes me remember what she told me. You're not chasing a person, you're chasing a feeling. And maybe what I'm chasing is freedom, because knowing you're outside my door is agonizing. Like I can't leave because if I see you, I won't be able to get very far at all. I'll melt. You are not human to me anymore, because I cannot separate you from myself or from my world. You are something more or something less. I see you swirling around me in clouds like silver, sometimes sharp when I think about that empty campsite, when I close my eyes and remember the depths of your arms, the depths of your eyes, the depths of the water that we swam in, where you held me. Even if I open the door, it will never be as it was. Maybe I let you keep knocking because I know that in truth, if I open it and run to you, I will see that your feet are planted. You are no cloud of silver. You have no halo. You are not me. You are not mine. You are nothing more than human. And I will not melt, and your eyes will not be deep enough for me to swim in. I will just wade in and realize my solitude, even in your waters, even in your arms. Okay, two more, one short and one long. Okay, we're gonna start with the short one. My glass city sparkles, but feathers fall 1,000 at a time. Fingertips reach, but fall back to my body of warmth, of presence, my body of endless sunrise, my body of circumstance. I can't help myself. I'll scrape it back 100 times until all there is fire, crimson, hunted souls between me and who? Who shoots down stars, and I see them collected and lost, spilling over in trash bags left behind. I can't help myself. Okay. This last one is called How to Hold It All. At the start, I was given a bucket, new, yellow, and shiny, with a red handle curved into a crescent moon to fit my small hand. I was told to fill it with pretty things, with moss and green rocks, spiral shells, driftwood, forget-me-nots, smoke from evening campfires and starlight, dried flowers, fresh bread, and laughter. How to hold it all. At the start, he was given a small cloth bag, battered but sturdy, with a leather tag on the side housing initials he could not recognize. He was told to fill it with his special things, his favorite book, his t-shirt, his pencils. He knew the things he could not pack, he would never see again. He knew he was not going to come back. How to hold it all. At the start, she was given 2 tin pails, thin-walled, rusted, with corners that threatened to give out. She was told to fill them with water, then balance the hard metal and walk back 3 miles or 5. She tried to walk steady so the water did not slosh over the sides. How to hold it all. Yesterday, the farm workers sat on the ground in the dust, eyes tired, boots battered. They were given zip ties tight around their wrists. The sun set red on the horizon. A van waited to escort them to a small military plane. 2 officers watched from afar. We arrested 100 today. How will we hold them all? Yesterday, the elementary school was given metal detectors, stern, intrusive, and cold, with blaring sirens and screaming eyes. Her manager told her that when the siren goes off, and when she rips open the teeth of the faded purple JanSport backpack, and when she sees a gun inside, to take it, to put it in the bin, to call the police. But only half the students have filed into the halls and her bin is already full. How will she hold them all? Last month, the girl was given a positive pregnancy test, but she could not tell her family. She could not tell anyone, because then they would know what he did. They would confront him and he might come back. Monday, her 6th grade class went on a field trip. At lunch, she slunk away, down the street, 10 blocks, just enough time. But the signs were ripped from the walls, windows dark, clinic closed permanently. She walked back, her heart roared softly. She had to finish her reading log. It was due tomorrow. How to hold it all. The spring breathes warm, fresh air through your linen curtains. Wisps of fresh grass, of poppies, of sunlight float into your room. You know that yesterday the hospital was bombed and 21 infants were killed. And that means that 42 parents lost their babies. And that means that 84 grandparents lost their grandchildren. You know that yesterday when you bought a vanilla almond latte, it said $6.99, but really it was $7.49, and you know that that extra 50 cents was used to buy the bomb. You know that when the moon is full, you can see the whole field from your bedroom window, illuminated softly, your childhood lullaby personified. And how could the whole world not be just as right, just as peaceful, just as present. You know that on your way to the mall, you passed a man on the street who could not lift his head, and you pretended not to see him, and you spent $39.68 on sale items, which was really $42.54, and you know that that extra $2.87 was used to buy the bomb. But you also know that tonight you will bathe in melodies and red wine. How to hold it all. Thank you.
That was amazing. Our next reader is Lisa Zheng. She is a junior at Maria Carrillo High School and the current Youth Poet Laureate. Poetry is a place where she can escape the rigid rules of school essays and pour her rawest experiences out. She sometimes translates prose into rhythmic ballads via piano. She is a self-described word nerd who likes the elegance of combining specific words and experiments with unconventional syntax. Her main purpose in writing poetry, besides personal catharsis, is to give voice to the hidden psychological turmoil that many teens experience. Let's welcome Lisa.
Thank you for introducing me. And I feel like I have okay there. Yes. Okay. I think Sabine's poems are really good. So this one is about my family, and I actually presented it. Well, I wrote it for the purpose of this Asian gathering like a month ago, and it was just like me trying to make sense of my mom's love and my dad's love and my grandma's love, and how like they're all different from each other. I feel like in the past I struggled a lot with like translating them differently, because I feel like they might be different from like the conventional love. That makes any sense?
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, it's called Different Forms of Love. 1. 爸爸 Dad. 山水东南西北. Flashcards with Chinese characters, my father's voice would sway. If his love for me were infinite, why did he leave for a startup dream in another city when I was only 3? Pale yellow maple leaves at the park with my friend. Her father slings her on top of his shoulders. Could you pick me up too? I would murmur. My father only returned once a month, but once I blazed into a high fever. He booked a train ticket straight home, stayed throughout the night at the hospital, trying to book an appointment, not leaving me alone. 2015, America, with mom, just the two of us. I was 7. Me and my dad, 13-hour difference. Jam-packed schedule, barely FaceTime, enthusiastic chatter recedes into perfunctory goodbyes. I start to forget his voice. 2017, waiting for my mom to get back from the airport with Baba. He entered through the back door. I peeked meekly around the corner. Into my palm, he presses a box of shortbread cookies in the shape of baby chicks, powder blue and pastel yellow, and a cozy pink pom-pom beanie I still wear to this day. He won me over, earned a hug. I retreated upstairs, satisfied, munching on faux feathers. A stranger had arrived. He was the man who brought me gifts overseas. Another yogurt time, another bubble tea, slide dollar bills underneath my door doesn't make up for lost time when you went adrift. Years passed, he taught me math and physics. High fives built our fragile alliance. But my silence doesn't speak to him. If I don't make any noise, he assumes I'm happy. Now, leaving for his trip, he hands me $40. Buy yourself some snacks while I'm gone. His way of apology. Not a word of what happened yesterday. 8 years later, this scene I interpret differently. I see a man trying to reconnect in the only way he knew how to. 2. Mom. Visas, a foreign language, work. 2 Chinese women in a new country. My mom has 2 brains, one for survival and one for me. She is Barbie, 100 different roles. Mother, taxpayer, chauffeur, chef, teacher, father. Her hard-working nature propelled her to ask the same for me. Why do I have to play piano while watching others play? She talks like a cannon, firing shots. Paint the girl more realistic. Try creating more space. Too detailed. Erase that purple dot. Can you just make her shirt sleeve look more cylindric? How many times do I have to tell you? Can you swear there'll be no more fixes? Just one more thing. Maybe she does this because she believes she's the only one who can point out my mistakes before I face the world. Maybe she doesn't realize I can learn from my missteps, that falling and rising is part of the process. But she is very wise. Having fun isn't wasting time. Be productive so you have more time to play. Hiding in the bathroom, fear takes its hold. Scared of looking foolish, scared of breaking the mold. She whispers, "Would you still speak to the unwise?" "Of course," I reply, with truth in my eyes. "There," she says, "don't be afraid to be the dumbest in the room." So here I am. I wouldn't be who I am today without. 3. 姥姥, grandmother. After I was born, my grandmother left behind a rural province for Beijing's skyline. 40 years of cultivated farmland, my grandfather, her friends, cannibal hens pecking at their own eggs, tomato and parsley, cabbage and broccoli, 1,000 miles just to take care of me. So much she had to sacrifice. Rain or shine, always on time, she'd be there beaming when the school bell chimed. Hot butter cakes of sesame from China's rugged streets snuck me sweets secretly when my mother disagreed. She saw my first crawls, first walks, first words before my parents who were always at work, until my mom and I left for the new land. The 7 years since my birth was held in my grandmother's hands. 4. Baba's distance, gift-laden attempts at connection, my mother's demanding, disciplined affection, and Lalo's quiet, unconditional protection. Loves many languages, and I am still learning to translate them. Thank you.